welcome back. On this portion of the shiplap, removing the board that surrounds the bottom of the window. We've already removed one of the boards, as you can see. It was a little bit of a wiggle fest in order to get that board out, because we couldn't just pop it and drop it because there was a window involved. So we're having to do the same thing on this one. What we're going to do is, this board is pretty solid all the way down, so we don't need to remove this portion of the board. And the shiplap that I have is 12-foot lengths. So what I did was I measured from where we removed the other piece of shiplap and measured down to this point right here. And we actually get pretty lucky because it sits right on a stud behind the wall. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting the shiplap at this point just to the side of the stud. I'm gonna then put blocking in on the stud, and we'll be able to tie in the new shiplap where it will grab onto a block of wood or stud piece on the inside. And then pull it out. And then I raise it up a little higher, get it where I want it to be. And just work your way up. That way you're able to control how deep the blade goes. You don't always have to use a circular saw by turning it on and running it up. You can use the tools that you have to do different purposes. So then what I'll do is I will readjust the platform of it, wherever that little toggle is, and I'm going to make the saw blade go a little bit deeper. So it's not much, just give it a little tap like that, tighten it back up, and then put it back into that same groove that we already cut. This time it's going to go right in the center. We've successfully removed the shiplap around the window that also went underneath each of the windows. What I've done is I measured out 12 feet long. This board is just a little bit longer than 12 feet. Used my speed square pencil and I measured where it needed to be trimmed off at the end. And while it's still sitting up here underneath the window, I'm going and measuring where the cutout needs to be on the shiplap. So I'm lining my speed square up with where the window mounts, which happens to be on the inside of the stud, and I'm just scoring a line straight down. So we're making vertical cuts with the chop saw. You can use a jigsaw, you can use a circular saw. I find it easier to use the chop saw to come down and make those cuts. And then we can use a circular saw to run down the line. This is where the windows are located on this piece of shiplap. So we're just gonna make our first cut straight down, slide the board down, make the next vertical cut. So I'll just show you how to make the first cut. You're not going to go all the way down. It's a little trickier doing it this way, but because the window sits on the inside of this line, we want to put the blade on the inside of this line as well. Check everything, make sure it's level and straight, and make sure that the piece of lumber that you're cutting is flush up against the back of the deck. Make sure your blade is going to be cutting the section that you want to cut. And on this one, rather than sliding the arm of the saw out, we're going to keep it all the way in its back position, and we're just going to come straight down with it.